Hello. It's been a while since we've done a video like this, so I thought we would do a quick catch up on where we're at with the bankroll collection. I don't have a lot of time, so we'll have to do this relatively quickly. The dime rolls, we're at, I think, 87 rolls. There's 17 per column. So that'd be 85, but the left column, I think, is only 16, and then there's 3 over here. So I think that's 87, if my math is right. We lead it off with the 2 Mercury rolls, which are 1944. 1944p. Really nice original rolls. You don't really see these very often. They're both heads on both sides, and this one is the one that you can see the date, if I can get the right angle. 1944, upside down. It's in the light that way. So those are really nice. And then, you know, we've got 3 1946p rolls. I believe it's 3. Yep, 3. First one's a shotgun roll. It was probably put together in the 70s or 80s. This one's, it is what it is. And this one is a little bit older, obviously. I think this is probably original, even though the ends are pretty much untoned, which is unusual. But I've had that for a long time. And then of the 3, this is probably the, you know, it's got the oldest look to it, if you will. You can see the fibers coming off the roll itself, and the ends are very toned, deeply toned. And it just has that crusty look. And then we have a couple of really nice rolls, a 46D roll and a 46S. Oops, and we almost broke the 46S. That was almost a disaster. All right, but we salvaged it, so that was good. 46D roll, you see, they both have really nice toning, which is just not going to come out on this camera. And very nice luster as well. And truly what an original bankroll should look like. So there's no doubt, I mean, it's starting to tear a little bit, but you would expect that after 80 years. And this 46S roll is California head office, Los Angeles Bank, but the paper itself from Bowser and Sunnyvale, which is South Bay, San Jose area, you know, hundreds of miles from Los Angeles. Again, nicely toned. It's got rainbow hues, which you're not seeing in person. This roll is 1,000 times nicer than on this camera. And the temptation to break it out and look for varieties is definitely there, but you know, I try to not give into that temptation. So after that, we do have a 47p roll. Oops, put them in the wrong order. 47, that's not it either. This is it. Okay. 1947p. Another very tough date in a bank wrap. You can buy them in tubes without a lot of difficulty. They come up from time to time. They don't come up all that often. You've got to get them when you can, especially if they're original like this one. And then the 51D roll is another good date. I have never seen another one since I bought this one. Federal Reserve, Cleveland. Makes sense for a Denver Mint coin. There's your D on the left under the paper there. There's your 1951. A beautiful roll. After that, we have a bunch of 53D rolls. With really nice toning on almost all of them. This roll was acquired separately, as was this one. And the next 5 were bought all together from one source. The same source I bought these 1954s from. So 53S, we got a bunch of 55s, which is common, and the rest are fairly common. 55 through 64. quarters. Oh, we're upside down here. Chronological. The worst of them all is the oldest, 1943, but it's definitely a more modern wrap. Probably wrapped in the 70s, 80s, maybe even 5 years ago. Anyway, it's wrapped and it's a solid 43 date. This 45 roll is the opposite. It's a gloriously original roll. The paper is much thicker, which you can't really see on a video, but it's the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. And it's just a different kind of paper. Absolutely original. 48, again, probably not original. You know, it's older paper than the 43. And it's similar to the next couple rolls I'll show you. You know, it does have age on the feeling, so I don't know. Jury's out on this one. Not a lot of toning. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. The toning on the end is all about the storage conditions. These next two are both the same, 51D. And these are very original, and again, it's not really, I mean, there's toning spots and specks and carbon spots. But in the second 51D roll, same thing, same condition. A couple 54S rolls. This one's fairly new. From Washington State. Double S mint. And then we've got a bunch of 55s, 55Ds. We've got 6 or 7 1956D from the Commerce Trust, Kansas City. Oh, that's a 56P. But the 56D rolls, there's 6 or 7 of these. And anyone thinking these aren't original needs to revisit what original is, because the paper is so soft and so brittle in the writing. And look at this, like this old tape there that's probably 30 years old, who knows. All came from the same guy, had them in a safe, family safe. 56D, 56D, 56D. I wish he didn't use the magic marker, but I can't control that. 57 is the next date, which was stamped. Bank stamped them, as you know. You know, that's got that similar type of paper as the 1945, and look at the deep toning on that one. That's a beauty. And then a couple of 57D and a 59.5 roll. So there's 22.5 rolls of quarters, like 87 rolls of dimes, and then we got some pennies, including some wheat pennies here. This is a nice roll, 1950p. I have to cut this off soon, I have a meeting. So we'll just do a real quick look here. Underneath here is the 1879 Morgan roll. This is truly an original roll of Morgan dollars. 79p being a much better date than 79s, but not as nice a date as a 79.0 or CC, obviously. That's the roll it came from, and then of course the half dollars. We've got the 48D rolls. We've got this mystery S mint roll. Which is almost certainly a 54S roll. Let's get a better shot of it here. There's an S mint mark above the bell that may or may not show up on the camera because of all that heavy toning. It's just hard to capture. See if I can get it in the right light. Yeah, see the S? If I could hold my hand steady. Right in the middle. And see the S above the top of the bell. So, the guy that sold it to me, I do trust him. He says he was sold to him as an unknown date. And it's probably 54S. I probably overpaid, but I've never seen an S mint bank wrap roll. Not yet, anyway. $10 or $20. Not shown here are 6 1964D Kennedy rolls. And, this is a 57D roll. That's a nice roll, Bank of America. The elastic is a 60D, and then 62, 62D, and a bunch of 63Ds. The half-dollar rolls start with a couple nice ones here. Federal Reserve St. Louis, these are all, this is a 52D roll. Not something you see every day. That one cost me some money. Not gonna lie. We have a 54p roll from the U.S. Treasury of Washington, D.C. That's a nice roll. Started to unravel a little bit, but the integrity of the roll is maintained. And then that famous 1955 roll. This is when it was purchased originally, I'm guessing, January of 61. And even then, when silver was still circulating, this was still a $16.50 roll. So it was 1.5 times face value. Kind of hard to believe, right? That's 6 years after the 1955 had already started generating a premium. Pretty cool. So it's got nice toning. It's definitely as original gets. We move into two of my favorite rolls, which are these 1957P, much better date than D, but the quality of these coins on the end is second to none. The luster is ridiculously nice. There's a small tick or cut on the cheek, but other than that, there's not much, and the toning is just fabulous. On the back, I mean, you've got every color on the rainbow, except this camera just doesn't pick it up well. But look at the glistening of the luster and the bell lines. If I can get a good shot, are very strong. Toning is hiding it a little bit. Suffice to say that it's what we would say is all there. Here's another 57p roll. Gerard Trust Corn Exchange. And the toning is just phenomenal. I just can't break this one open. As much as I think the coins inside are insanely nice and probably will grade 65 and better, and many with full bill. You know, there's probably $100 coins and more inside there. We move to 5 of the 1958, which are, oh no, I'm sorry, there's a couple 57D. Date stamp October 1957 from the Federal Reserve of St. Louis. 1957, heads on both sides. It's a 57D roll because, if you remember the date, stamp, Federal Reserve of St. Louis, October 1957, is its twin brother. St. Louis, 57. And this one is a heads tails roll, so we get to see that D mint mark to confirm if there was ever any doubt. And another beautiful roll with very strong bell lines for those who are interested. All the way across, both sets. Lovely. Just lovely. And then we do have the 5 rolls of 1958, which are all the same pretty much. Couple heads, couple heads, tails, and these are very similar to the 57s. 58P, again, being better than a 58D roll without a doubt. Beautiful rolls. There's 4 of them. 5 of them, sorry. We move to a couple 59Ds. Also, Federal Reserve St. Louis, date stamped 1959. We have a 61 or a 61D, January of 1962, 61D. Oh, heads, but it's a 61D. We have a 62 from the Federal Reserve, Bank of Denver, 62D, very deeply toned on both sides. We have a bunch of 63s, 2 and 4 is 6 and 4 is 10, 11, 12, yeah, there's probably 12, 13 of them. We got 5 1964D, including the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, another date stamp, June of 64. So all those St. Louis. And on that note, penny rolls, we showed you all of them. We showed you, maybe we didn't, some of those tough dates like that 51S, it's a $700 roll. 47S is a good roll, 46S. 51D is decent, 50D. 52S, pretty good ones in there. And you see all these over here, these are Morgan dollars, and we have some Morgan dollars in the old A&A slabs. We'll show those in more detail another day. These are the first and second generation with the 2-letter cert number. Cert number starting with the 2 letters. 1902P, that's a good date for all you Morgan collectors. A couple of really nice. It's common, obviously. It's nothing special. There's a couple of good ones though. Like this one here, I just had this one graded. It's a beauty. $80/9S, little variety where the O has remnants of a 9 in it from the 79. You have to zero in on it for a closer look. There's a regular 80S. I thought it had a chance at a PL. That front obverse was definitely there. The reverse was just not PL enough to merit it, and I do agree with it now that I've had it for a while, and I got almost a 66 out of it. I guess they said not quite. No cigar, sir. A lot of 64s. Common date, obviously. Got some good ones in here though too. Like this one's a pretty good one. I had this one graded a few months ago. It's a coin you don't see every day. So, again, a video for another time. This one's beautiful. I could be here all day looking at all of these. But all right, I hope you enjoyed a little eye candy for the day. Oh, this last slab box. Right here you see this, one of the few piece dollars with toning on it. 23S, I thought it would grade 64. I guess that cut on the cheek, they said that can't make 64, so that's probably, I can't disagree. Here we see, these are all AccuGrade. And AccuGrade was the very first grading company to use slabs. And, you know, looking at today's grading standards, I would agree with the grade on, I would say 80% of these. There's a nicely toned 1880. I think it's been a little bit, this probably would come back clean. That's one of the ones I don't agree with because there is some light wipe. This one only came back 62, so I like their conservative grading. It is kind of banged up. But yet this one they gave a 65. And it's very clean and very similar to the other 65 we just saw. So I think for the most part, a lot of these are right on. And there's 25 of them or so in here. So we'll get into those another day maybe, but I hope you enjoyed the video, and happy collecting to all of you. Your comments, questions, thoughts, welcome. Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. Leave your comments, questions, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can, and I do appreciate it. God bless.